our new band. Brought to you by NZ On Air. Active Live! Yeah.
Kia ora koutou katoa. Yes, indeed. Welcome. You're here in the live room with me, or you will be very soon at 5 p.m. when we put this up on our Facebook page. But for all of you wonderful listeners out there, kia ora and welcome to the Active Live Room. Today I have here with me the wonderful one and only Luke Buda. Kia ora, Luke. Thanks so much for joining us.
Kia ora, thank you for having me.
Hey, it's so lovely to have you here, and particularly solo. I'm very excited to have you, and thank you for coming in spite of the fact you can't come in with a band right now with everything going on.
Yeah, I feel it's great to be here. I definitely love playing with the band, but gonna give this a go.
I'm very excited. I'm sure it will be just as amazing as every other time you played. I also wanted to say huge congratulations on your album release, Buda, which is what we're here to talk about today.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been such an awesome album. First solo album in 12 years, which is very, very cool. And in that time, you've been doing so many other things that I really want to get into at some point soon. But first off, let's hear our first tune from that album. What have you got for us?
I have, I'm going to play I'm a Bit Out of Shape. Beautiful. For everyone. Put another log on the fire. I hope that it was not a mistake. I'm chasing down the spark of desire. I'm afraid that I'm a bit out of shape. It don't mean that I'm giving up. Oh no, it's gonna take a lot more than high cholesterol level, possible cardiac arrest to stop me from wanting you, darling. I can't afford to rest. Now I feel like a fish out of water, struggling to catch my breath. Is this love or just my level of fitness? Maybe I'm close to death, but even that won't slow me down. Oh no, it's gonna take a lot more than high cholesterol level, possible cardiac arrest to stop me from wanting you, darling. I must ignore the tears. Body may be giving up, but I know it's gonna take a lot more than high cholesterol level, possible cardiac arrest to stop me from wanting you, darling. Though I'm past my best, push myself to the limit for one chance to be a doll. Push myself to the limit for one chance to be a doll. And some people won't get it.
Oh, that was just beautiful. Thank you so much for performing that for us. And for those of you just joining in, we have the wonderful Luke Buda in here in our live room with us today here on radioactive.fm. That was awesome. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
So as I mentioned before you played that wonderful song, you have had pretty much no free time in the last 12 years since your last album release. You have been doing so many wonderful things, including soundtracking some incredible films. You've been winning Silver Scrolls with people like Lawrence Arabia. You've been recording and releasing with the Phoenix Foundation and Teeth and a whole bunch of other amazing things as well. How did you possibly find the time to write a solo album and all that?
So basically, after Give Up Your Dreams, which is the Phoenix Foundation album in 2015, we took a self-imposed hiatus, I guess. Like, we'd been going reasonably hard for a long time, but like, I think our first tour was in 1999, and so I think that, like, pretty much, well, since Horsepower in, I don't know, 2003 or whenever it came out, I'd say we've toured New Zealand once or twice a year, and then once Buffalo came out, we sort of added the UK and Europe to that, and we just took a little break, really, and but I am compelled to make music, despite my best intentions, so. Yeah, I just kept on going to my garage anyway and doing it. Well, and in fact, my day job is film and TV stuff, so I am just in my studio every day, like an actual job, like a real job, but with no need for a haircut. Anyway, and so it just kind of happened, really. I actually thought it was going to come out before Friendship. It's which is the last Phoenix Foundation album, which was in 2020. Like, this album has been basically finished since 2019. So this is actually it's like massive relief to have it out.
That's amazing. Yeah, I was going to say congratulations then, because that must be a bit of a weight off the shoulders. Because I noticed you mentioned to our breakfast host Maggie when she interviewed you earlier in the month about this album that you'd been working on the album since 2019, but you had it finished in 2019.
Yeah,
That's
no,
amazing.
like I've actually been. I reckon some of this has probably been around since 2017, if not earlier. But it takes me ages to write a song sometimes, like ages. I reckon like Decision Dollars on Friendship was probably began 4 years before it actually got finished. And that's not me working on it for 4 years. Like every morning I wake up and I work on that song. It's more just like, I don't know. It's just a weird process.
I can imagine. Yeah, I think it's a very individual thing, the creative process for everyone. And for you, who's a working full-time creative, and this is your bread and butter kind of thing, how do you find it separating those two parts of your creativity?
You mean sort of like the film stuff? Like
when you're forced to have to create for work, or not forced, that's the wrong word, but when you have to create for soundtracks or work or specific 9-to-5 making money, bread and butter, versus when you create for an album like this?
Well, I mean, doing stuff for film and TV is pretty interesting. It's very different because you are making music that's really to a not a manifesto, but to serve the picture. And so sometimes you're making stuff that isn't at all like what you'd think is cool, really, Like, we've done some cartoon stuff, and actually the cartoon stuff's quite difficult because that sort of crazy orchestral, zany cartoon music, I don't listen to that in my spare time, bum ba-dum, da-da-da-dum, bum bum, bring. Somebody's got to do it.
And that somebody is you.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Hey, guys, do you think a drum fill after this joke is too much? No, it's great. Okay. Ba-dum, psh. I've literally done that.
Oh, that's amazing. Hey, I love that there's those common tropes that you could rely on for that,
Yeah.
So if you've had this album recorded and ready since 2019, why was now the right time to release it?
Because I wanted to release it earlier, but what happened is that the Phoenix Foundation album started sort of roaring into life, and that has behind it the energy of the whole band and a really hard-working, proactive manager. So it was like, well, there's almost no way I'm actually just going to finish my one. I'm just going to do this and then kind of come back to it. And like, it's taken so long since even the end of that Friendship tour for me to even get this out. It just takes ages, really.
It really does. I love the utilitarian approach you take there. It's for the people. It's for the band.
Well, I think it's like there comes a time where your sort of urgency to get it out is gone. You know, and it's like, all right, I'm just gonna take a deep breath and try and do it properly rather than got to get it out. You know. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Taking that step sounds quite important. Is that something you've always done throughout your musical career?
What, like?
Is that a learned thing? The concept of just taking a moment,
Nah.
looking at yourself critically.
No, I reckon I get really tense about just wanting things out as soon as possible. But we just kind of got to learn to, you know. Also, I've been like really lucky and spoilt pretty much in the Phoenix Foundation to have, first of all, had record companies, like generally pretty good ones, and then just like an excellent manager. So you'd think that I'd know how to do stuff, but I actually don't really. So it's been a learning curve, you know, like, oh, right. And now I've actually got to just do some shit by myself, for myself. So it was a great opportunity to grow.
Yeah, oh, I love that. And did you find that you did learn like all of the stuff you were hoping to learn throughout this album's process?
Oh, I think hoping to learn is probably a
Bit of an oxymoron.
yeah, it's like it's more just like I've made some music and I'd like some people to hear it because I don't know, that's part of it for me. And so these are the hoops or whatever I got to jump through to make that happen. Like, you know, pick up my social media game. I wouldn't say that I was hoping to learn more about how to cut sick on Twitter.
God, no one is, are we?
And in fact, before I'd deleted a bunch of social media stuff off my phone before the album because I was like, man, this is terrible. I used to read books, you know. Now I just like scroll through pictures of like noodles. You know?
Yeah, I miss the
Pretty
days when
much.
I could pick up a book and then finish it in a month or so. These days it just sits there.
Yeah,
You know?
it's terrible.
I know that feeling.
We're lost.
We are all a bit lost. And on that note, should we get into another song, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
What have you got for us next?
This is called Don't Think in Bed, and this is actually one of the 3 songs with the lyrics written by a person who writes books, Damien Wilkins. And so, you know, like I was saying, it takes me about 4 years to write a song. When I finally, sort of out of desperation, sent the songs to Damien, because he'd offered years ago to write me some lyrics, I was just sort of afraid to take that step or whatever. It took him one night.
Don't you hate people like that?
Yeah, I was just like, wow, you utter bastard. Anyway.
I'm excited to ask you a bit more about Damien, but let's hear about the song first.
Okay. Imagine tomorrow you're alone in the house. The ground starts shaking with tremendous force. You can't stand up, you can barely crawl. Cracks in the ceiling, stuff flying off the walls. Why do you bother, baby, making up these scenes? Let's get some sleep now, dream better dreams. Turn out the light, we'll be up soon enough. The river I swam in when I was a child, you can't go there now. They've put up a sign. Imagine the harbor full of all our shit. You don't have to imagine, 'cause this is it. Honey, it's bad for you, we both know that. Doctor told you, don't think in bed. Turn out the light, we'll be soon enough. Honey, there's other things that we can do instead. Everybody knows the rule, don't think in bed. Turn out the light, we'll be up soon enough. The river we swam in, the harbor we fell in, the river we swam in, the harbor we fell in, the river we swam in, the harbor we fell in.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Gosh, it's a poignant and beautiful song. Lyrically as well, it feels so personal when you sing it. It's amazing. But obviously the lyrics, as you mentioned, were written by Damien. I kind of felt that throughout, when I read that, I felt that throughout the whole album. I was quite surprised that you had a lyrical collaborator because the album does feel really personal. How do you find collaborating lyrically as opposed to collaborating with, musicians and the musicians you worked in?
Well, this is the first time I've done it. Well, other than with Sam and the Phoenix Foundation, and Sam and I and Conrad from the Phoenix Foundation have been playing music together since we were 14.
That's amazing.
And I'm 42 now. So it's 28 years. Basic arithmetic in public is one of my phobias.
I was going to say, please don't ask me to do that.
But it's a long time, so I don't even I don't really think that Sam and Con and we just do it. It was like I said, it was kind of just out of desperation, really. I find lyrics just quite tough going. So I had a few songs and just wasn't getting anywhere. So I was like, right, he did say he was keen to write some lyrics. And so the collaboration was basically me sending him basically a finished track and him sending the lyrics back. But lots of people have it was weird. I felt very precious and weird about it when it sort of the idea first came up. But lots of people have got lyric writers, Elton John.
Yeah. It's funny
and they all
because it's a
sound personal.
huge thing overseas, but not so much here in Aotearoa. Have you...
Yeah, I guess it isn't.
Yeah, because you have a lot of, signings and people, writing for people over there and shadow writing and all that's such a big thing. Yeah, it's interesting to me that it's not so much of a thing here. Was that part of the inspiration for you? Because I know you've worked with overseas international labels and you've worked quite a bit internationally.
No, it was basically just man, I really like this track, but I've failed to write any lyrics that I like for it, so I need help. Yeah. And he said he was going to help. Yeah, that's a pretty unromantic way of looking at it, but that was pretty much it. But I'm really happy with it. I'm happy with how it came out, so we'll do it again.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't think it's unromantic. I think, if anything, it's beautiful that someone you've wanted to collaborate with for ages who's wanted to... It's a little bit like a musical meet cute, in my opinion.
Like a musical what?
Meet cute. It's a film term, but
right.
It's when two characters meet. Anyway, we won't go into it now. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I love your lyrics with Damien, but my particularly favourite lyrics on this album are the lyrics from My Naked Body, which I think are just so amazing and raw And you really encapsulate a feeling. Like, I've felt that. I think everyone in the world in some way, shape or form has felt the things you're talking about on that song. That raw and personal lyrical quality is amazing and kind of rings true throughout the entire album. There feels like a bit of catharsis there. Would you agree?
Well, that's an interesting one. So basically, I've said this kind of a few times recently, but it's true. So basically, I find my albums, Special Surprise and Vesuvius, for me personally, are kind of hard work because Special Surprise is quite sincere and Vesuvius is like really quite cynical. And I was quite conscious when I started writing this album that I didn't want to listen to it back in a few years and just be like, ugh, which is kind of how I feel, which I don't want to ruin anyone else's enjoyment of that album, but I'm like, oh man, what the hell?
Oh, no.
So I think that maybe that was like out of desperation as well. I was just like, something, and then that first line just came out, and I was like, all right, well, let's go for it, right? And then the interesting thing about that song is that when I played it with the band, people were really into it. And then I played it as a solo gig in Auckland. And there was something about when that song was stripped from its like fun beat that a friend of mine afterwards was like, oh man, that song was pretty depressing. And and I think it's because it was like it's the balance between the quite breezy track and the lyrics, whereas when it was me by myself on the acoustic guitar, the fun factor, I don't know, I've probably gone way too deep now into this nerdy shit, but yeah.
I totally hear what you're saying, because I think the song walks a really fine line, and it's a sad lyrical song, but it does make you sad. You know, it doesn't make you feel like it's quite upbeat. It's quite interesting. I definitely see that. That's very funny.
I mean, I sort of, people have said that it's, maybe I don't find the same things. I just find it's quite fine. Like, I'm fine with that being an emotion I feel or something. It's like we've all got to get with the fact that we're just funny looking, funny people, and that's what it's about, really. It's actually not supposed to be like a real bummer. It's just more like, oh well,
If I'm honest, I personally find the song quite inspiring rather than a bummer or anything. I wonder if that's because, as you say, it can kind of be taken in different ways and qualities depending on who's performing it and how they're performing it. But I feel a sense of sort of inspiration behind it.
Don't watch me perform it solo then.
Just don't perform it solo again and you'll be fine,
man.
Ayla.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. But no, I really, really love that song, and awesome
Great,
work on the
thank
lyrics for that one. But how do you, because I did want to know
I
this.
did feel quite chuffed, actually, when I finished that one, to be honest. I was like, I think I've got something. I've done something. I've done this song. I think it's okay.
I did it. Yeah, no, that definitely rings through. I love it. It's a beautiful song. You did mention while you were talking about the song that you had brought it to the band. I'm guessing that's performing your live band for this Luke Buda project. But I wanted to talk a bit about how you choose which songs for which projects, because you're involved in so many amazing bands and so many amazing things, and you're, Teeth and the Phoenix Foundation and Luke Buda, they have quite similar, very diverse sounds, in my opinion, too. How do you choose what goes where?
It's entirely, I think it's entirely like time and situational based, and possibly some kind of weird mystical thing that goes on there. It'll be like I might play a song to Sam and Con, and they might just not have the correct level of enthusiasm that I need to feel like I want it to be a Phoenix song. And so then if I really like it, if I'm not like bummed out by the fact that they weren't into it at that moment, then it'll be my own song. Teeth is a bit different. I don't know. I think with Teeth, I actually am trying to do stuff for Teeth, but that's just that's not really a songwritery vibe. It's a bandy band. So, it's just kind of like when it's happening and what the vibe is with the band, as in the band meaning the Phoenix Foundation. Yeah.
That's cool. And that kind of speaks to the fluid creativity that you must experience every day as a songwriter and this kind of bread and butter 9 to 5 film and soundtracking thing we were talking about earlier. I wanted to ask you about, what is the name here that I have written down? Christmas Studios, otherwise known as the Hellhole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about that.
So it's my garage. And I just thought it was funny to call it the hellhole. And then I thought, wow, maybe I'm sort of like, like creating my own fate by saying I'm just off to the hellhole day after day. So then I called it Christmas Studios.
Off to Christmas
So that I'm
every
just
day.
off to, it's just like, wow, I'm going to have some fruit pudding, bit of custard, maybe some brandy butter.
Little trifle.
Yeah,
maybe.
every day of the year. That's it, really. It's my garage. It's all right. I'd rather have a nicer studio, but that's what I've got.
Yeah. Hey, it sounds like it's working well for you, and that's the main thing.
It's kind of like it's enough for one person when you get another person in there, it's pretty tight. Yeah. It's a bit of like, don't swing the guitar around or you'll hit someone in the face sort of a space,
Hey, all the best studios in New Zealand are, I'd argue. All the best studios have a little bit of a low-key garage vibe to them. Maybe. And you recorded this album through there?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. But I mean, I mixed it with Lee Preble. So I would say that the album is averagely engineered and recorded by me, but expertly mixed by Lee Preble through his amazing gear. Yeah. I think I concentrated on not fucking it up too much. But honestly, because, engineering is a fine art of its own. And usually when I'm making music, I'm kind of like trying to go too fast too. I'm just trying to get the idea down so I don't sort of spend ages pointing the mic in the perfect spot and stuff like that. I'm just like, all right, get the next thing down. So as long as it's not like too cruddy, then he can do quite a lot with it.
Totally. I think you are kind of selling yourself a tiny bit short there, but
Yes, well,
I hear what
sorry.
you're saying. Shall we have another song?
Yes, why not?
Wonderful. What have we got next up?
Well, I was going to do Who Would Want to Be Lonely.
Wonderful. And this is one of the singles from the album, right?
Imagine that.
Amazing.
Yes, it is. Sorry, let me just...
Have a cheeky
This
tune.
is the best radio you're going to hear today, is me tuning up.
We're getting the audience excited. It's the anticipation building, you see.
And also, just a little insight into what it's really like.
This is the behind the scenes of musicians and how they work.
Yeah. Live on Radioactive. We saw stars and they were falling to their deaths. We heard them burning up the sky. We heard their voices, they were calling across the void. Words aloud inside our minds. And they said, who would want to be lonely? Who would want to be alone? We didn't want to be lonely. We didn't want to be alone. We saw the mountains rising up above the clouds, glittering peaks high in the sky. We heard their voices, they were calling across the void. Words were loud inside our minds. And they said, who would want to be lonely? Who would want to be
beautiful. Gosh, that performance, that was beautiful. Acoustically, goodness.
Thank you.
So I wanted to chat a bit about the vinyl for this release next up, because I know there is vinyl, which is particularly exciting given we're in, there's sort of all this news and drama and craziness about an international vinyl shortage right now.
Is there?
Yeah, apparently.
I haven't actually heard about that.
Oh, fair enough. Well, you've obviously done quite well in the sense that you've got your vinyl already. You didn't need to.
Well, I just got the vinyl made in Auckland, so at Holiday Records.
Oh, shout out to Holiday.
That's right. Shout out to them.
When did you, tell us about the process for getting the vinyl done? Is that something that was done pre-2019 or?
Nah, they're pretty quick, to be honest. Yeah.
Cool.
They're cool.
Amazing.
And with comparable prices to overseas competitors.
Gosh, shout out Holiday Records. Amazing. And now you did say for the final tune you would be putting a yes. Thank you for doing that.
You want me to put the wig
I want to
on?
see the wig. Yes, I'm very excited about this wig.
Well, it's just about Halloween, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's Halloween times. Plus, it features on your album cover, which is a very important thing to mention.
Spooky, scary.
Spooky, scary times. So what was it about this look that made you go, yes, that's what I want for my album cover?
Oh, man, I honestly, it's one of the very rare occasions in my life where I basically just had an idea pop into my head, fully formed with no rhyme or reason, and I just went to my partner, Sarah. Oh, I know what the cover's going to be. It's going to be me in a 19th century wig with I call it a ruff, but actually the correct term is a jabot, apparently.
Jabot.
And I'm going to have really rosy cheeks, and it'll be a circle in the middle of the cover. And she was like, that sounds cool. And that was that really. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very defined vision then.
yeah, I
Came to
don't
you in
know.
a dream.
Yeah. I don't know. I really love Prince, obviously. We brought Prince up before.
We were talking about Prince vibes.
And, I'm going to bring Elton John up before any of the sort of pompous, ridiculous camp ones. I'm into it, basically.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Hence the
It's like
inspiration.
it's like when you said bring the wig, and I was like, I don't need a second invitation. That was.
I was so glad. I knew you'd respond that way, but I'm very glad you did. And then last but not least, obviously you unfortunately can't play your show tonight in Wellington. We were very
Yeah,
much
well.
looking forward to it. But you are rescheduling the tour, is that right?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. Although I actually don't know whether we've announced the dates or not. But we are looking at late February.
Amazing.
But it has been. I just want, for people that may or may not be disappointed when the new dates come out, it's been very difficult because every band in New Zealand whose gigs got canned from August onwards are rebooking their tours, and every one of the people in my band plays in 37 other bands. And honestly, we've actually had to condense it a bit, so I will prepare. Obviously, we are obviously going to play in Wellington, but we have had to condense the tour, which is a bummer, but
That is a bit of a bummer. I've heard that from so many musicians throughout Aotearoa at this time, though. I think that's a pretty, it's just the unfortunate reality of COVID in this time.
I mean, I don't want to be whinging too much, right? It's just like we've gotten away reasonably lightly in Wellington, really, haven't we?
We are incredibly lucky in that sense.
Even in the New Zealand and a world sense.
No, we are particularly lucky for that. I did want to ask just before I'll let you play
But I
your
was
final
looking
song, I
forward to
promise.
playing gigs, that's for sure.
And we were looking
Sorry.
forward to seeing you at gigs.
Didn't mean to interrupt, sorry.
No, that's all right. I did want to ask just before you play your final song, do you have any advice? You have released now 2 albums during the COVID era, when the Phoenix Foundation one and, of course, your recent one. Do you have any advice for musicians releasing post-2020?
No. Nah, it's just, I reckon everyone sort of no, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't reckon I have any special secrets about that side of things at all. I reckon I just personally do my best, do my best, hope for the best, basically, People have been pretty supportive, I reckon. There's it's both it's mostly been totally shit for us all, right? But, people are also getting in behind a little bit. I think maybe, hopefully, maybe I've made myself believe that. I don't know.
You'd hope
You know?
so. Yeah.
They'll buy some stuff off Bandcamp, I reckon, because they can't come to a gig, and they know that it's a bit shit for you, and maybe they want to. They also it makes them feel a bit less bad about missing a gig themselves to buy a T-shirt. I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point. And where can, speaking of which, people support you and buy your album and things?
Well, I mean, the album is in all the record stores, although I think that they don't have many left. So
quick, everyone.
if you don't buy it from a shop, you can go to Bandcamp.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Bandcamp's the place to be.
It's probably the best place for the artist, really.
Totally.
Yeah, rather
Totally
than
agree.
at the gig.
As close as we can get in these days. Hey, Luke, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been so lovely having you in. And we've got, luckily, one more song for you to
Thanks.
play us out with.
Thanks for having me. Yeah. Okay, hang on. Please sit down, I want to ask you some questions about the planet and its future direction. If you imagine the sea, is it coming or going? If there's a tree in your mind, is it shrinking or growing? Take me to your river, but don't wash me down. Name your favorite bird and where it was found. Can I take a breather before I answer? Open the window, we'll have a chance for. Here comes the wind. Here comes the wind. Here comes the wind. Lean right in. Lean right in. I leave you this gauge for collecting data. Hold on to your spade for a system of barter. Develop a plan for your family and friends. Beware the ways the mind can bend. Record the butterflies and the frogs. Sketch the lichen on the fallen logs. Can I take a breather before I answer? Open the window, we'll have a chance for. Here comes the wind. Here comes the wind. Here comes the wind. Lean right in. Lean right in. Now take this knife, it slides into your shoe. Know that this earth is sending you clues. Look out.
Live. Friday, 3:30. Every week a new band. In studio. Brought to you by NZ On Air.
God, I don't know what you're talking about with the
Parent Active.